Hello everybody and thanks for listening in. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tauzibao and I'm going to be the host for the upcoming campaign in Hearts of Iron 3, the BlackICE mod. Now this is a really great mod. It is a huge extension of the original Hearts of Iron 3 system. The developers have gone out of their way to really include a working, sensible division system for unit organization into the game, recreating historic orders of battle and stuff. And today we are going to have a look what things look like here. Also, they've tried to include several options for historic gameplay, and you will see like playing Germany, for example, several events upgrading historic Wehrmacht units to their original to their actual historic states that they went through. So you will see one unit moving through different stages, not being present at certain times when they were down for maintenance and stuff, re-equipment. So many decisions to actually manage your countries are in place. The political system, so that the politics screen has been overhauled. So in the vanilla version, that is, without any mods up or stuff, you could safely ignore the politics system, never take a look in it, and still win a whole campaign with a major nation. Shouldn't be possible in this one, I dare say. Shouldn't be possible, because there is just too much going on. I actually want to play this time. I think I want to start with Japan. Now, the thing about Japan, I've played them in the past in previous versions of the BlackICE mod, and I could win the war against China without building any notable new units. I mean, maybe an HQ defense division or some garrison, not garrison, what's it called? Brigade. Maybe some HQ defense brigade or some anti-aircraft brigade, but not like real unit production, like let's build like, I don't know, 6 infantry divisions or something. So I could do this with the original order of battle, more or less. I would change the unit hierarchy, but I would use the units that I've been given and not add anything specific worth mentioning. I'm not sure if that's gonna work here. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold. I'm not sure if that's actually gonna work here, because China has been overworked, updated, so to speak. They have no difficulty level, and I wanna set them to very hard and see what they actually can do. So let's talk a bit about the world we're living in. World War II had 2 theaters. That's the East, the Pacific theater that we will concentrate on, and the Western theater. Usually you'd say there are like 2 factions, the Allies and the Axis, or the other way around, the Axis and the Allies. Of course, Hearts of Iron 3 has the Allies, the Axis, and the Comintern. That's the Soviet Union. You would begin in the Western traditional model with saying, yeah, well, World War II began in Europe in 1939 when Germany invaded Poland, and the Allied nations, that is France and Britain and the United Kingdom, declared war against Germany on Poland's side. However, you could also say that World War II began in China in 1937 uh, when Japan's armies moved forward into the Republic of China and the Chinese fought back and the war, a small skirmish escalated, which is half the true story. I'm going to come back to this. Let's stick to the traditional narrative first and then come to our specific thing. So Germany is a nation that lost a major war some 30 years ago. They were an empire and they had territory being taken from them, notably in Alsace-Lorraine over here. That's the western side of the Rhine border with France, and parts of East Prussia that are now Poland, most notably Danzig, the city over here. The Polish nation was formed out of territory from Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Russian Empire. And the Germans have grievances over that and want their territory back. Also, there's the growing nationalism that wants to unite all German people under one banner. That would include like the Austrians as well as the German population of Czechoslovakia. So there we have an expansionist regime that looks to actually expand, while others would have to pay the price for their expansion. Also, we have the Soviet Union. It is most of what the Russian Empire used to be. However, Finland declared independence, as did the Baltic states. Parts of Romania took parts of the Russian Empire, and they want it back. Yeah, this is maybe you could maybe argue that this mindset hasn't changed a lot. Whoa, I'm getting into trouble here, but this is one further destabilizing factor in Europe. The Austro-Hungarian Empire has fallen apart, and both Austria and Hungary were treated as perpetrators, warmongers, people who are responsible for World War One, and they have grievances over that as well. They do not like the system they've been put into, and especially Hungary has grievances with Romania over territory. When the Austro-Hungarian Empire broke apart, or was broken apart, nation states were supposed to emerge, and it's completely okay for a Romanian nationalist to say, well, then let's please give us the land where Romanians actually do live. However, if you're a Hungarian living on that very territory, you would say, no, I'd rather want this territory to be Hungarian than Romanian. So there are disagreements about borders. Yugoslavia, that's basically Greater Serbia. That's a multi-ethnic state under Serbian rule. So there are Croats, basically it's the Yugoslavia that broke up in the 1990s. And if you followed the news back then, or if you go to Wikipedia and check up on the facts, you will see that these people don't always get along well, and that was sort of a destabilizing factor in this country as well. What else? Bulgaria, not gonna talk about them. Actually, Greece, Italy. We should talk some words about Italy. Italy is a republic, although they have monarch at the head of the state. That's Vittorio Emanuele III. He was king during World War One as well. So is it a kingdom? Is it a republic? Well, right now it's a fascist state, that is sure. So the guy making all the decisions, that is Benito Mussolini. Right now he's friends with the United Kingdom and France. He managed to get into power maybe because Italy was a kind of betrayed nation in World War One. They joined the Allied side for promises of land and conquest. They wanted to get the Dalmatian coast, and what they actually got was very little and far less than they had expected, and for that they suffered massive casualties, catastrophic actually. Yeah, so that's a destabilizing factor. It is right now under fascist rule, and they want to expand, recreate the Roman Empire, and they're at war with Ethiopia, Abyssinia as it was called then. Another thing, the Turkish Empire fell apart, was was made to fall apart. And the allies, that is France and England, grabbed the territory, and they either rule it directly now, or they have puppets in place. The Spanish Republic is a key theater for the coming of the war. This is these two countries, France and Spain, they are deeply divided between traditionalist, religious, reactionary, conservative-minded, authority-liking people, and rebellious, atheist, progressive, Marxist, communist factions. So in both countries, they now have a left-wing government, but they are under pressure from their right-wing opposition, and these tensions will break out in Spain, and they will suffer a civil war. Yeah, so historically, Germany annexed Austria, destroyed Czechoslovakia, annexed most of the territory, and then invaded Poland when these two nations stepped in and started the war in 1939. But if we look at the Eastern Theater now, war is going to start here sooner. So while there is already war in Ethiopia and there will be war in Spain, this is war in Asia is going to break out soon as well. Or speaking in different terms, there is actually war in Asia, and that is between China and the Republic of China and its allies against the communist faction over here. That is historically called the People's Republic of China. Now, some 80 years before this date, China and Japan were ancient empires that were isolationist and backwards looking, rather than looking towards the outside and going with the time. Several European invasions changed that with force, against the will of the native population. And the outcome was, in these two cases, a very different one. Now, the most obvious thing is China itself, and you may have guessed when I said China and corrected myself, speaking about the Republic of China to be precise. The Qing Empire, that was the Imperial Empire, that was the empire until 1905, I guess. That expanded into Manchuria, which parts of it were taken by Russia actually. Korea was part of it, as was Manchukuo, of course, Shanxi, Xibei Sanma, the Republic of China, Yunnan, and Guangxi. Tibet was a subject nation, but sort of independent. You could go into further details, but I don't want to bore you here or get into trouble. Xinjiang used to be, I think, part of the Tang Empire. It is associated with China, but not really Chinese. And this kingdom fell apart when there were several revolutions declaring the republic, but not really being able to project power into the outer provinces, and some army leaders, generals, or lower commanders were able to establish autonomous factions. That is, for example, the Guangxi clique, Xibei Sanma, Yunnan, Shanxi. These are army guys. They were able to get their armies behind them and rule on that basis, that they have the command of the army that has the say in that region. Now, the head of the Republic of China is Lin Sen, but the guy pulling all the strings is a person known as Chiang Kai-shek in the West. That's what you call him in the West. His Chinese name is Jiang Zhishi, and he's the foremost general, the head of the army, and he's pulling the strings. And he's a fascist because at that point in time, you looked for strong ideologies that you could use to form your people, and fascism and communism were appealing at that time. So they are a right-wing autocracy, so is Guangxi, as is Xibei Sanma, as is Shanxi. All of these are fascists, with Xibei Sanma being the exception here. They are Muslims. They are Uyghurs, that is an ethnic minority in China even today, and they are one of two unruly minorities. China has a lot of minorities, but the Tibetans and the Uyghurs are unruly. Let's leave it at that. And the Uyghurs are Muslim. Xibei means northwest, and Sanma means the three Ma people. Ma, that's the family name of three generals who rule this country. Faction, might be a better word. So we have these nations fighting against the communists. The communists have a tiny territory and a tiny army, but they are well equipped for war against any neighbor. They can leash out and defend their territory. So China is at civil war and has been for quite some time. While if we look at Japan, they've been rather successful. They led a war against the Tsarist Russian Empire. and won. They defeated their land army and their navy twice. And they managed to wrest control from Russia over certain islands and territory. They conquered Korea, moved on into Manchuria, created a puppet state headed by the former Chinese Emperor Puyi. And they want to expand further. They are a rising nation, and that makes them go into conflict with, say, the British and the Americans, and especially the Chinese. So a war is going to start here. The Imperial Army, the Imperial Japanese Army, has pushed forward again and again, and sometimes the Chinese fought a skirmish and retreated, or retreated without a skirmish, but they're going to stand in 1937, and war, full-blown war, will be the result. So let's have a look what the game is about. I hope this one is going to work after all, because the last time I tried it, the save games were all corrupt. So I don't even know if it's gonna work. So let's dive in and have a look.